Hello everyone, go eastbound and down with us today because we're back on Morgan Hasn't Seen in the late 70s with Smokey and the Bandit. What's going on here is my first and foremost question, Jeannine, for today's episode. Is where does Smokey and the Bandit become so cartoonish from? I had no idea it was this of a goofy ass movie. What the hell's going on?
Exactly.
I don't know quite what I was expecting with Smokey and the Bandit, to be honest. I was expecting a certain level, I think, of 70s cool.
Yeah.
Sort of, yes, fun action, a bit of craziness, but it literally feeling like a live action cartoon. I was not quite expecting. I didn't mind it. I really quite enjoyed the fact it was like that.
Yes.
But what a wild switch up of the series we've got this week for our obviously as well, our video episode
podcast
of the month. This was voted for. Clearly people
loved
see
this. Yeah.
Well, clearly people love this, and clearly people want to see us try and make sense of why Smokey and the Bandit is even a thing. Why is it the way it is? Nobody knows.
Yeah, no, I was very much on the same wavelength as you, because this is a Jeannine hasn't seen for me as well. I'd never seen this movie, and so I was like, it's about time. I know it's this kind of popular pop culture thing, Burt Reynolds, all this thing. So that's why I picked it for this series. And I kind of think I was in the same vein. I was expecting some 70s cool, some like Steve McQueen movie levels of like fun car stunts and action, things like that. But
definitely car stunts and car action and things like that. It's not really that. There's some of that, but it's way more interested in making virtually everybody else in the movie who isn't the Bandit or the Snowman or Sally Field look like a complete idiot.
Yes.
That's what the movie wants to do. It's not even interested in being cool car stunts, which is weird because that is what I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Fast and Furious precursor.
Right? But it's more like an episode of Dukes of Hazzard. Like it's just...
very much so. I mean, it's as deep south gets as well, isn't it? Really, is
banjo music just springing up every 5 minutes,
full of these eclectic characters, larger than life, ridiculous looking people.
Yeah,
who are strutting around thinking they're the most important thing in the entire world, and Burt Reynolds just whizzing past them, breezing past them at every given opportunity with infinite amounts of charisma. And I think that is what makes this movie, I suppose it's what's made this movie continually beloved. It's what's made this movie, continually well known, continually well remembered, and very, very entertaining. It's anchored by Burt Reynolds, and his natural, I suppose, pleasantness in this movie. You enjoy watching him do what he's doing in this movie. He does bring that late 70s cool to the movie. And that easygoing attitude. And I think, to be honest, that's probably, if the movie has a point, that's probably the point of the movie. It's that exploration of easygoing lifestyles, freewheeling kind of lifestyles.
Yeah.
Absolute hyper Americanized freedom attitudes and things like that of just, we can do whatever we want. Yeah, we're going to do a big beer smuggling run because that's what we do. There's a little bit of, should I do this with my life? What else should I do with my life? But it's not really focused on asking those questions.
Yeah.
It's more into the fact that, well, the Bandit himself and the Snowman, obviously,
Yeah.
The Bandit being Burt Reynolds, Snowman being Jerry Reed.
who sings
The
that theme song.
who sings the Eastbound and Down theme song, which
Yeah.
does get stuck in your head immediately, and
Yeah,
then
one of his
doesn't
biggest
let up in the
hits.
entire movie.
Yeah.
Very weird. It's way more interested in just exploring their kind of happiness with their silly lifestyle of just, we don't have much, but you know what? We have a hell of a time making everybody look foolish.
Yeah, like we get the sense this is a regular kind of routine for them. Yeah, they have this whole kind of method of doing this on the regular. So when they get the opportunity,
freedom of the open road.
Yes, and it always seems like kind of the structure of this routine is Bandit gets tasked to do something, he goes to Snowman maybe tries to is hesitant a few times, and then he's easily kind of talked into doing it. And then once he's doing it, he's having a blast. So I
his
like
wife doesn't want him to do it again and wants him to get a real job.
Yes, but I like the sensibility that they set up at the beginning, that this is kind of just their regular routine that they kind of go through. And their dynamic is really fun, considering, they're separated for the whole film. You still get this really fun sense of their camaraderie. I also kind of was curious before watching the film, like where Sally Field fits in, because of course, you see little bits and pieces, and you kind of wonder, like, is she Smokey? Like, what's going on?
You kind of do. I mean, Smokey ends up being what they refer to the police as.
Yeah.
Specifically, Sheriff Buford T. Justice, which is
that he says like 20 times
name in the entire world, but he's apparently based on
a real person that Burt Reynolds' father knew.
Name.
Yeah, like a real sheriff in Florida.
Only in Deep South America would you get a name like Buford T. Justice and it actually be a real person's name.
Yes, and Justice being somebody who, like, it sounds like a sheriff, so it's like perfect.
Well, then that's the point, isn't it? That's the joke of it. That's why it sounds like a joke.
Yes, and that's why he constantly says it every opportunity he gets. He says the whole thing like that. So, yeah, just kind of making him that much more ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, Sally Field, I was really curious to see like what her character was going to do in this movie. And I think if you weren't kind of familiar with her career, like her television career kind of before going into movies, you see her as a dramatic actress. So
definitely.
you kind of forget that she has these great comedy chops, and she has great chemistry with Burt Reynolds. So yeah, I loved their kind of banter and dynamic and their ease. And a lot of her moments and her line deliveries made me laugh. So I was really having a lot of fun with her character as well.
I do feel like the thing that Sally Field will forever be remembered for, though, is just being so desperate for people to like her.
Yeah.
Speech, I mean, desperate's the wrong word. That's an unfair word.
The surprise of,
the Oscars speech of you like me, you really like me, and that's going to be Sally Field's legacy, for better or worse. That's going to be Sally Field's legacy.
Yes.
Alongside, sure, the many great movies she's been in and made, absolutely. But one thing has to stand up aside from all the others, Sally, and it's going to be that. I do feel it's going to be that. More so than the performance she won for, I feel, as well. People remember the speech more so
than the movie.
Which is strange sometimes, but you can get that with the Oscars. Sometimes she certainly doesn't win an Oscar for Smokey and the Bandit, but that's not to say that she's not doing a fine job in Smokey and the Bandit. I think everybody's doing a fine job. It's just a daft, silly movie. And I was taken aback by how
unserious it was.
It was, and deeply, deeply unserious. Look at the two movies we've come off the back of in this series. Boys from Brazil, which, I mean, was it serious? Was it trying to be utter lunacy? Who knows what the Boys from Brazil was actually tonally trying to be. Sometimes it wanted to be the most cold-hearted, serious movie ever. Other times it wanted to be shock value exploitation. It was never quite sure.
Yeah.
The Gauntlet last week was this style of movie, I suppose, but done in a serious way.
Yes, definitely taking itself more seriously. Yeah.
Full of corruption and genuine kind of tense action.
Yeah.
Hard, struggles of a chase movie that the Gauntlet was, and someone like Clint Eastwood embodies that perfectly. I don't think if you switched Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds in these two chase movies, it works at all, because I don't think Eastwood would be able to do this level of silliness, and Burt Reynolds probably wouldn't be able to do
that level
of seriousness, of harshness. There would always be a twinkle in his eye, and he carries through this movie with a twinkle in his eye. We open the movie at this, what is it, truck show sort of odd Southern fair kind of situation going on, with these two outrageously dressed people.
Yes.
One of whom, the little one, who's played by Paul Williams, who I always forget whenever he shows up in anything, how small Paul
Tiny
Williams
he
was. Is he still alive? He's still alive.
I think he's still alive. Yeah. Like what I recognize him, like, oh yeah, I remember, like, the last time I think I saw him something most recently was in Baby Driver. So that was
he in Baby? Ago. I didn't know he was in Baby Driver. And we watched it for the show, didn't we, all quite a long time ago, before everybody involved in Baby Driver became a terrible
problematic.
Person. Yeah. But yeah, I always forget how small he is, and I have fond feelings towards Paul Williams, because he did the music behind Bugsy Malone, which is one of my favorite movies.
Okay. Yes.
Everybody always says Rainbow Connection. I love the Muppets and all this business. And yes, sure, okay, no worries, that's fine. But also over here is Bugsy Malone and Phantom of the Paradise, which is also utterly bizarre and he's utterly bizarre in this movie as well, and very, very tiny, alongside his father, I guess.
Are they brothers?
I think they're supposed to. No, I think they're supposed to be father and son, which is what threw me off, because they look the same age.
Are you sure they're not supposed to be brothers?
They're definitely supposed to be father and son, 100%, because Big Enos refers to little Enos, Paul Williams, as his son multiple times in the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
And it did throw me off, because
I think I just kind of jumped there because of the age look of the two of them. Yeah.
These two people want beer. That's specifically Coors beer. So let's get all the money from Coors to have, I guess, their product in this movie. We have to make this movie somehow. Apparently we have to make this movie somehow. It's very important.
Yes.
We make this movie. Of all, very, very important movies that were made in the 70s, Smokey and the Bandit might just take the cake as the most important movie made in the US in the 70s. About smuggling Coors beer. But it taught me something about alcohol laws, Jeannine, which is something that has always baffled me about the US, how strict its alcohol laws are compared to every other law you have.
Yes. And then you also think of kind of bootlegging as something that happened like way long ago. So the fact that that kind of...
Yeah. It's prohibition bootlegging. It's not the 70s. Why is bootlegging happening in the 70s?
In the 70s, exactly. It's so weird. So I think it was just kind of a certain states had laws against it. So yeah, they can't get their Coors. So they ask, Bandit and Snowman to help them out. Well, they ask the Bandit to help them out. To transport their beer over these state lines so they can get.
But why do they ask him? Why do they ask him specifically? That's my question. What is it about the Bandit? What makes him so special?
Well, I think he kind of says to the snowman, like, because we can get the job done. Like, he knows we can do it. So,
It's pure
um,
confidence is what it is. It's pure
yeah,
unabashed
cocky and
confidence in
confidence,
themselves.
because they do establish that, because I think they open the film showing somebody getting caught with beers and them getting
Mm,
confiscated.
yeah.
And so when they approach the bandit, he's very much like, well, that's kind of a trap. They've already kind of, they're looking out for truck drivers who are transporting beer. And so he's kind of like not wanting to do it at first until they kind of offer him the right price. So they establish that this is kind of something that cops have been looking out for already, and a bunch of people have already been stopped and caught. So, yeah, once he kind of gets the right price, then it also becomes kind of about the challenge of it for him as well.
Yeah, do you like these kind of characters? The drifter kind of character who doesn't really have a designated home, just kind of moves from small town to small town, doing
Whatever
supposedly
works.
kind of doing whatever job he can to, I guess,
Kind of get
pay
by.
for his next meal, but then
Yeah.
also looks like Burt Reynolds and is just kind of supremely well dressed and incredibly well groomed and looking like the most manicured, handsomest person in the entire
Yeah, because don't
world.
we meet him
Yet
laying
is
up in a hammock? Like,
yet is literally homeless and
but you don't think about any of that.
smuggles beer for a job,
Because he
I
just looks
guess.
so cool, so you don't even think about, yeah, like, I think we literally meet him just chilling in a hammock, like,
Yeah. And that's his life. That's what he does with
yes.
his life. Do we like
Yeah.
these kind of characters though? Because it is not just the bandit who is this type of character. They are rampant in particularly, I think, American movies, because there is a certain level of Americanized freedom and self-individualization about it all, isn't there? There's a certain I'm
Yeah,
going to do whatever I
whatever
want
I want,
attitude
yeah, and kind of
about
live.
this type of American.
Yeah, this kind of
Um,
very free living mentality. I do like characters like that. I think they're kind of unpredictable, and they really don't have anything to lose. So when you see them kind of get into situations where they end up kind of forming allegiances or bonds with characters, then it kind
yeah,
of throws an interesting thing in the mix of like, well, is this going to change their lifestyle? Is this going to cause them to want to settle down? Or are they kind of stuck in their ways about their kind of nomad lifestyle? So yeah, you kind of wonder if, when he meets Sally Field, is that going to kind of change things for him? Is he going to be endeared to somebody where he kind of never was or never felt like he had to be or wanted
yeah.
to? So yeah, I do enjoy characters like that. And I must say, like, I don't think I ever got it like with being attracted to Burt Reynolds or him as a sex symbol. Like I
I
just
mean,
never saw it. But here in this movie, I kind of was getting it. I was like,
I
kinda
mean,
I
he
kinda think I see
is.
it. Like, he's super charismatic, he's charming when he does that ridiculous laugh, like
He has got a very. He actually does have a very, very distinct laugh, doesn't he?
yes,
It
which
is.
you don't think
He is
about.
quite childlike.
Yeah.
Very,
Yes.
very loud, just kind of laugh.
And it was like,
It's really odd.
like that kind of laugh that he does. I was just like, yeah, I've never seen it before. Like, I knew that, like, he was the 70s sex symbol, the mustache, all of it, but I just never saw it. And then in this movie, I was kinda like, "Okay, I kinda get it." Like, it
Yeah.
was almost like, did Pedro Pascal model his character from Kingsman 2 on Burt Reynolds in this
I
movie a
mean,
little bit?
you would
'Cause
have to think so.
he was giving me those vibes. So maybe that's why I was like, "Okay, Burt Reynolds, I see what you're doing here." So,
Look, I
yeah.
feel like I haven't seen I haven't explored Burt Reynolds' career anywhere near as much as I would
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
myself, to be
same.
honest. But
Yeah.
I do like him. I do like seeing him perform. I do think I see the reason he was a 70s
Yeah,
sex symbol.
star,
I
yeah.
do. I get that. In a world of male sex symbols, which was the 70s. I do think Burt Reynolds happens to be pretty high up there for impact and for power in that. And I kind of like that you saw it in Smokey and the Bandit. You know, it's always a thing. I always refer to, you know, lying on your side with your hand up on your head and you know, your elbow up as doing the Burt Reynolds, because that was his famous
kind of
sex symbol photo. And everybody knows what I think you're referring to when you say you know, you're lying like Burt Reynolds. Everybody can picture that.
Kind of picture that.
Now. So that's impact. That's cultural impact for whatever it is. That's cultural impact. So he has that. He has the mustache. Obviously, mustaches are very good, aren't they? We all like mustaches.
In the 70s,
in the 70s, definitely. But we all like mustaches on It's a Wonderful Podcast. And unfortunately, we're not on the main show where we have the Mustache Hall of Fame today. But certainly Burt Reynolds belongs in the adjacent Mustache Hall of Fame for Morgan Hasn't Seen, should there be one for this show. Which there isn't officially. But it is somewhat unofficial and certainly honourable mentioned in the main show's Mustache Hall of Fame. If we can find a movie that Burt Reynolds made perhaps earlier into the 70s, which the only real one I know that we would do would possibly be Deliverance, which is 72, which is main show appropriate. I feel like 72's kind of main show appropriate. But he doesn't have a mustache in that.
He doesn't have a mustache in that movie. I also had thought about like a déjà vu. You know, if you don't know what a déjà vu is, that's kind of what we call when we watch a classic film and then also watch and discuss its modern remake. The Longest Yard, which I think was 74. So I had always kind of thought about doing The Longest Yard and then the Adam Sandler remake for a déjà vu.
A football movie.
Yes, but he also doesn't have a mustache in that either, I don't think. So
maybe he doesn't have a mustache until the late 70s then, and then he just keeps it for the rest of his life.
The rest of his career,
Near enough. Maybe I don't know if he keeps it necessarily for the rest of his career. He's just known with a mustache, isn't he? And people picture him with one.
With a mustache.
It's kind of a shame that he would never perhaps then be in the Mustache Hall of Fame for this show or for It's a Wonderful Podcast, because it doesn't quite sit right with me.
Yes, because he's kind of an icon of that style of facial hair.
You
know.
No, he's very good in this movie, though. He's effortless, I think, in this movie, which is what kind of the movie wants to be. Wants to feel effortless. It's complete utter fun of a movie. You could watch it time and time and time again. It is ridiculously breezy to watch. Very, very entertaining. You know, very feel good, because you're following these characters who, yes, there's something hyper American about it because it's making everybody else around them look like an idiot and themselves look great, which is what stereotypically the US does best. I say stereotypically for a reason. We don't have to go into that. But there is something likable about that. There is something endearing about that, because they never come across as arrogant either. Do the Bandit and Snowman. They're just competent. They're just capable. They're just and crazily capable, because Bandit's there driving his Trans Am, 110 miles an hour, trying to distract all the police from Snowman driving
the truck with all the Coors in it.
With all the beer in, and nobody looks at Snowman because he's just a trucker. He's just doing his business, and you know, thousands and thousands of truckers on these roads every day. You know, and all this kind of stuff. But who's everybody gonna focus on?
Follow the crazy fast driving
sports car.
Zooming all around the place.
It's a very
Yes.
good system, and Buford T.
Yeah, it's like a
Justice
good
falls
idea.
for it. He falls for it hook, line, and sinker, and he gets very, very continuously annoyed. But then Jackie Gleason, he's great at doing this
Yeah.
kind of stuff
Yeah,
as
great silly
well.
comedian. Yeah, kind of made his career off of kind of slapsticky kind of comedy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think he works in this role. But beyond kind of stopping this beer run situation, he has a personal stake in all of this because
He does.
as they are as Bandit is kind of on the road, he runs into this bride in the middle of the street and decides to pick her up, and it's Sally Field. And so she's taking off her wedding dress, she's kind of fast talking her whole story in these choppy bits, and he's trying to kind of pick up what what she's telling him and like what her story actually is. And then we find out that she was meant to marry the son of our
Yes.
sheriff and ran out on the wedding. She decided she did not want to marry him.
Who,
So,
who let's be honest, what's it, Junior Justice,
yeah.
as he's referred to in the movie,
Yes.
is an idiot.
Yes, he is. He's a big old bohunk, a handsome dummy kind of thing. So she talks about kind of meeting
is he even
him.
handsome? Is he
Well,
even
I mean,
handsome?
how she describes him, like she says she saw
Sure, yes.
him and
Okay.
he was handsome, he was wearing his hat, and he talked her up because she had moved there for dancing because she was a dancer. And he kind of talked her up, and she thought, well, what else do I have going for me? I might as well marry this guy. So she just decides to do it. And then on the wedding day, she decides, yeah, no, I do not want to marry this dumb bohunk guy. So she runs out on the wedding. So it's a personal vendetta, as he wants to kind of find this girl who's embarrassed his son, and
Yes.
made a mockery of them and this whole kind of thing, and embarrassed him in the town kind of thing. So that kind of adds this personal aspect onto this chase that's happening.
I don't think that it took Sally Field being a runaway bride to embarrass Junior Justice, though, because Buford T. Justice embarrasses his own son enough
All the
in this
time.
movie. So I don't know why he's so involved in making sure his son doesn't get embarrassed when he's spending the entire movie calling his son all kinds of names under the sun.
Yes. Well, I think he also says he paid for the wedding, so he's like annoyed about that too.
Also, it's monetary, I see. So it's all about
I don't think it's really about his dumb
financials
son. I don't think he really cares. I think he cares more about
just wants
the money
just
he
wants
put
his
in on
money
this
back.
wedding. Yeah, essentially.
So in Buford T. Justice's eyes, what we're saying here now is it is worth it is worth a marriage that would be just awful, clearly, just so Buford T. Justice can justify paying for it. So he's perfectly happy to pay for an awful marriage.
Yeah.
For the wedding of an awful marriage, because that's better than them not getting married. Get your priorities straight, Buford T. Justice. You don't make any sense, man. You don't make any sense in the entire movie. You spend the entire 90 minutes shouting at people, telling people your own name who probably already know your name because you say it that often, going from state to state to state to state, thinking you, as a Texas officer, have authority in Alabama,
all these
and
places,
in Georgia, and in everywhere else,
and
being
Arkansas,
racist. And being racist because, of course, it's the Deep South in the 70s, and we're dealing with an old world kind of sheriff character here. Of course, there's a little bit of that going on.
Yeah, he meets a black sheriff who he calls Boy. And then when he asks to speak to the sheriff, the black man says, "I am the sheriff." And he's like, "You're the sheriff. Your voice sounded kind of different on the phone." And then, he walks away and says, "What's this world coming to?" So,
yes.
Yeah. And then when he later he threatens to hang Burt Reynolds Bandit from a tree,
it doesn't
come off very well. Yes, no, not at all. So not a great guy. So when all these kind of ridiculous things happen to him, you're not feeling any kind of sympathy for this guy.
No, I think we should also. It shouldn't necessarily need to be said, but I feel like we should say that is the character's attitude, not the movie's attitude.
No.
The movie's attitude is making that man look like an idiot.
Ridiculous,
So
and he does, especially when, you know, we go through this film. It's very much like well, you haven't seen this movie, but Tommy Boy, kind of as they travel across country, more and more things happen to this car, like as it just gets beat up, and they still just kind of go. Yes. Really, so the sheriff's car just kind of gets totally slaughtered throughout this film, and they still continue to drive it around to the point where the whole top has been ripped off and they're still driving it. So Junior is just holding his father's hat on as they drive down the road. So, and he's even holding it as they're kind of walking around before he kind of gives his son a look. So yes, constantly just looking like a fool. I think he tries to clean off his glasses with toilet paper from the bathroom and ends up dragging the whole roll out of the restaurant, and the waitress has to like stop him. So yeah, they make him look silly at every turn. So you can't really take him too serious. He's very much of a cartoon style villain. I mean, I don't think we would put him, if we could, in the Mustache Hall of Fame with his tiny little pencil.
No, it's an awful mustache.
Yeah, it's not good.
I don't think Jackie Gleason suits a mustache at all, and certainly not the mustache he was doing in this movie. But then again, he wouldn't have had a cool looking mustache in this movie because he's a completely farcical character.
Yeah.
And supposed to be, the humor's quite childish, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Dragging toilet paper out of a bathroom and things like that. I mean, come on. What's going on here? But no, we're not putting him in any Mustache Hall of Fame. But we are commending him for a crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top performance, because he plays it very, very well. He's quite similar to, you know, the sheriff from the two Bond movies in the early 70s. You know, J.W.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun. He's in both of them. Who is just, he's this exact character. Yes, a deep South tobacco chewing kind
sheriff
of
kind of guy,
sheriff, who is a complete idiot and makes himself look an idiot at every given opportunity.
Yes.
It's very, very similar characters. Clearly, the 70s had a bit of authority issues.
Yeah, because I mean, wasn't that kind of the things that happened in Dukes of Hazzard as well? Like they were constantly getting in trouble. There was some sheriff chasing them all the time. Yeah,
it was. There's a little bit more of a problematic element to the Dukes of Hazzard, though, given the huge Confederate situation going on.
Yeah,
but in fact, speaking of that, didn't the Trans Am have a little Confederate
flag on it? Yeah, I'm
in this movie.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's been. It's not okay.
It's been a minute. Yes. But yeah, I mean, Jackie Gleason apparently put a lot into this role. He improvised a ton of his lines. He was constantly like contributing ideas, like that whole scene that he has with Bandit in the diner when he's talking to him, he doesn't know it's him, and that whole kind of thing. That was all improvised. That was the idea of Jackie Gleason to do that scene, because I don't think it was in the original script. So a lot of things he was kind of just doing on his own. So really interesting that, like, of all his roles, like this was the one where he like had all kinds of, you know, want to like put all this kind of creative input into.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to see. It's good to see. I like it when people embrace silliness in this way, because it makes it work. You know, the crescendo of craziness that does happen in this movie, as obviously, you know, Bandit and Snowman are getting closer and closer to their destination. You know, they've got a long way to go and a short time to get there, as the song says. What is it, like 28 hours or something like that they've got to travel? I don't know how long it is, but it's something. It's from like is it to Texas or is it from Texas to
I think it's from
Atlanta?
yeah, to yeah, I think they're because Georgia, I think, is where it's illegal, so they have to get through Georgia to Texas, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Texas, Georgia anyway. That's the
Yeah,
route.
yeah.
Whichever
It is
way it
the
is,
route
I
that they're
can't quite
taking.
remember now for some reason.
Yeah.
Although it would make sense that it would be Texas to
Texas,
Georgia because
yeah, because
Buford v.
Buford
Justice is
is
from
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, so maybe it is to
Mm.
get through Texas to Georgia. Um, but yeah, I mean, just kind of going back to Gleason as well, the fact that, like, you think at this point in his career, he wouldn't really be caring too much. He'd maybe be like a Ray Milland who's just kind of doing whatever for the money, who really just doesn't care.
Well,
Just surly and complaining all the time, because we're going to talk about Ray Milland's choices next month.
Ray
We also
Ray Milland's career in the 70s is
we
just
also did Frogs with Ray Milland,
outrageous.
and you know and kind of in the behind the scenes, seeing like how much he hated doing it. He was complaining all the time, was just insufferable. But the fact that Jackie Gleason was very kind of involved and wanting to participate and wanting to kind of put input, he could have totally done this role banking off of his known name and his long career. But
Of course.
he was still interested enough to kind of really be involved in it. He also ended up doing 2 and 3 as well, because I didn't even realize this was a franchise
Yeah,
film.
I had no idea this was a trilogy either,
Yeah,
Smokey and the
right?
Bandit.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see, like, at this late stage of his career, I think old, Hollywood actors kind of going into a different era and decade of filmmaking. They're kind of maybe doing it for money. They don't really care, and that kind of thing. So to see that he had that kind of excitement to want to still be a part of that creative process when it was interesting. I was kind of joking to you before the show that, like, he put all this kind of effort into this ridiculous movie instead of actually being a good grandfather to his famous grandchildren, who are
Yes.
actor Jason Patrick and his brother, I think, what's his name, Joshua John Miller, uh,
Yes.
respectively, from The Lost Boys and Near Dark, are his
The two great
vampire
are they
movies.
both
80,
87?
87, yeah, the 2 stars of the 87 vampire films, who were also the sons of Joshua Miller from The Exorcist. So he is their maternal
Garrus,
grandfather.
yes.
He's their maternal grandfather, and they did not have a relationship with him at all. So yeah, the fact that he had time to put into this silly movie, but not into to being there for his family, it's kind of crazy thing. But
Well,
yeah,
we
yeah.
shake our head at that, don't
Yes,
we, Jackie Gleason?
yes,
We do. But it
yeah.
is interesting. I think it's a good point to bring up as well. It's an interesting conversation to have. I think if you're comparing him to somebody like Ray Milland, who in the 70s, yes, we've covered Frogs on this show. We're going to be talking another ridiculous 70s Ray Milland movie next month on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different. They are different eras of
Yeah.
actor as well, though, because Ray Milland's older than Jackie.
Yeah.
Ray Milland's
Mhm.
quite
Old,
significantly
yeah.
older than Jackie Gleason. And I think because Jackie Gleason probably is more TV than he is movies, he's kind of more early TV, Honeymooners. He's
Mhm.
a very, very famous Jackie Gleason thing, and that's like 1960, 1959,
Mhm.
something like that, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
early TV. Yes,
Yeah.
there's movies, obviously. The
And
Hustler
comedy.
is very good.
Yes, we
And
covered as well. But yeah, and then even kind of having that comedy brand, that comedy aspect going into a silly movie like this, of
yeah,
course,
it
it
works.
would be instinctual for him to want to kind of incorporate something into the comedy of this film. Whereas Ray Milland, definitely not a comedy actor, a dramatic
No,
Oscar-winning actor.
Ray
Now
Milland just
doing this.
seemed to. Ray Milland just seemed to have things thrown at him that I don't think he needed to do. I think he could have done more serious movies
Serious
still.
things later in
But
his career. Yeah.
for whatever reason it was that I'm not quite sure. Maybe I need to look a
Maybe
little
we'll have
more
to look
deeper
into it
into
when we talk
what
his film next month.
happened.
Yeah.
Yes, into what happened with Ray Milland, that he ended up doing all these odd exploitation horror movies in the 70s, and some of which aren't even good exploitation horror movies. They're just utterly bizarre
Weird.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not like what, you know, Betty Davis would do, for example, or Joan Crawford would do.
Yeah.
Certain levels of exploitation movies, late 60s, bit into the 70s, and things like that. Ray Milland just did this complete other sect of movies, which is just odd. But, you know, if you're going to go into those kind of movies, the best ones are always clearly the ones that the people involved have actually had fun making, have actually enjoyed. You know, it's clear to see they've enjoyed making. It's clear to see they put something in there, no matter the size of movie it is. And, you know, I wouldn't anywhere near compare Smokey and the Bandit to Frogs either, because I think Smokey and the Bandit is, well, is Frogs even a competent movie? It's a fun movie, because I think it's just nonsense.
Silly. It's
really
very ridiculous. Yeah.
But Smokey and the Bandit is purposeful nonsense, and I think there's a difference there. This is supposed to be silly. I don't think Frogs is necessarily supposed to be silly. I think it's trying to be serious.
Yes, exactly.
Can't be.
Yes, and speaking of mustaches,
just is unable to be.
A pre-mustached Sam Elliott in that.
Sam Elliott's great. Yes, Sam Elliott is great.
No mustache Sam Elliott, which is wild to see as well. But
it's it is always a fascinating topic to talk about, though. I think those, you know, the transitioning of actors themselves from an older style of, you know,
an
making
older era filmmaking,
and to the 70s, which is obviously just you throw the book out, don't you, in the 70s?
And you're kind of just doing whatever.
Wipe.
Yes, and so I don't compare him to Ray Milland for like a one-to-one comparison, because clearly they had different careers. It's just the idea of an older actor who kind of was known in like the older era of film, now going into this new 70s era, and what kind of projects they're doing. And you would kind of just generally think maybe older actors are gonna do some weird things, and maybe do them because, you know, things, you know, obviously money handling in that era was not very great, or you know, drug abuse problems, or, you know, falling star and that kind of thing. So kind of just doing whatever to make money. So you kind of always view actors kind of making that transition and doing kind of weird things as maybe something kind of personally going on in their lives, kind of making them take whatever comes to them. So that's kind of the mentality, I think, of somebody like a Jackie Gleason. So the fact that like this is him later in his career transitioning into this new era of filmmaking, you would maybe think that he would just kind of be doing random stuff and not really putting much care into it, just showing up and doing his job. So the fact that behind the scenes he was adding all of this extra input was really kind of fun to hear that that's what he was doing, that he was so kind of involved in that aspect.
You've got to commend that, and I think it clearly helped the movie. You know, this movie is the directorial debut of stuntman Hal Needham as well, so perhaps there's a certain inexperience there in directing a movie that people can collaborate further on and kind of help each other
fill in
out,
those gaps.
Fill in those gaps to end up making the best movie you can, as crazy and silly and unserious as it is.
You know, I mean, I think I also read
make a good movie.
Yes, and I think I also read this was like the number 2 movie behind A New Hope, Star Wars A New Hope. So
in 77, surely that has to be in the US. That cannot be worldwide. Surely that has to be in the US. Nobody outside of the US is all that for Smokey and the Bandit. We can't.
I mean, do you know anything about the international reception of this film, the UK reception? Was this I
mean, I've no idea.
Is this a pop culture thing over there? Like, like that you could look back on and just like in the lexicon of UK pop culture would this be in the mix somewhere?
I mean, I suppose it depends what you mean. Of that, people will have definitely heard of Smokey and the Bandit. People will definitely be fond of Smokey and the Bandit. I know full well that, you know, we compare it to Dukes of Hazzard. That was on British television all those years ago. It was shown in some way or another. A lot of American, you know, the A-Team,
Charlie's Angels,
all that sort of Charlie's Angels, all that sort of stuff was known and shown and was there as pieces of American TV. Smokey and the Bandit will be known. It's just such an American movie. That I can't see it having done staggeringly well at the British box office for, you know, in my opinion, compared to clearly the American box office, which I'd believe it was a financial success. I know it was a financial success. Obviously, it's a very successful movie. To learn that I don't know where the source is. I don't know what this source is, but to learn that it may have been number 2 to Star Wars in '77 at the box office is kind of mad. Because there's plenty of other. It was IMDb. I mean, sometimes it can be very accurate. Sometimes it can be wildly inaccurate. Take it or leave it with that. Take it with a pinch of salt, as people say. If you want to be like that. But I believe it was very successful. I think we can hold on to the fact that it was very financially successful. There's other big movies in 1977, surely, that would have beaten this.
Rival this.
Not Star Wars. Because nothing's going to beat Star Wars, obviously. I think the entire year of 1977, Star Wars was just everywhere.
Kind of the biggest thing.
Every movie showing. No other movies are being shown at all. But Mom, I want to go and watch another movie. You can't. You have to watch Star Wars. It's the only thing. It's on every screen in the country all the time. But what about all these other movies that are being advertised? They don't exist. It's just Star Wars. And that was 1977. As an attitude, I feel. And that's why it did so well. It bought out all the movies. It bought out all the cinemas. I think. I would believe that's exactly what happened. Lucas was sat there going, I know how to get this movie very successful. We'll just insist on showing it everywhere. We'll just pay to show
Toys,
it everywhere,
everything.
all the time. And no other movies are allowed to be shown. And if people want to go and watch it, they're not allowed to. We'll advertise Smokey and the Bandit. That's why Smokey and the Bandit did so well, because they were advertising Smokey and the Bandit.
At Star Wars.
But then they were advertising Smokey and the Bandit on the marquee outside. But then when people went into the cinema and sat down to watch Smokey and the Bandit, they just got a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and Star Wars just started. So everybody was just thinking that was what they were watching. And that's why Star Wars is so popular, because people are like, wait a minute,
I'm trying to watch
Burt Reynolds. I mean, I like what's going on here, so I'm going to continue watching
I'm just going to stay.
This is Burt Reynolds. That's how Star Wars became. That is my theory on how Star Wars became Star Wars.
Yes, I can see that being the thing that happened. But
the popularity of Smokey and the Bandit should not be questioned. I think it is justifiable. I think it is believable. And I mean, it's a fun time. Nothing happens in this movie.
I know. That's why we haven't really gone through. That's why we haven't really gone through any plot, because
there's no plot. It doesn't have to be a plot. That's an important point that I would like to have a little bit of a discussion on. Plot is not important. Plot is not the most important thing to a good movie. People need to shut up with this mentality. I've seen this mentality too often recently. I like episodes like this, Jeannine, where we can just have little bitty conversations on things based around the movie. But plot is not the most important thing to movie. And people these days, see, I know I'm being generalistic there, but people these days, the youth, they're obsessed with plot, Jeannine.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with plot. They don't like movies if nothing happens. I would tell them to watch Smokey and the Bandit because nothing happens in Smokey and the Bandit.
No.
It's an incredibly entertaining.
It's entertaining. It's how it makes you feel. You're enjoying the characters. You're getting some good laughs. Like, you're just having a good time. So yeah, this film, nothing really happens. You know, it's kind of the same thing in a loop too. Like, you know, someone's on, sheriff's onto them,
situation,
go on the run, we jump some things, things get crazy, and then it settles down again. And then the sheriff catches up with them again, things get crazy, the banjo kicks in, fast driving, crazy stuff, and then they get settled again. Yeah.
Every 5 minutes, that's all you
Yes,
get.
exactly.
It's like an episode of Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
Yes, it literally feels like an episode of a show, of an episode of a cartoon. And next week we'll be back with the shenanigans of Smokey and the Bandit. Like, that's what it feels like. Yes, and
on their perpetual journey across the US.
Yes, and I love that about this. Because when I put I don't know if it was when I put the poll up or when I put the announcement of the series and was talking about the different films, I literally had people talking about how this is like their favorite movie ever. And it won like the poll every time it was up against something. It blew it out of the water. So people really love this movie.
Like Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. So I love that we kind of went into it kind of having the same expectation, knowing, you know, this kind of pop culture aspect of it, how much people loved this movie, you know, this kind of being a memorable kind of thing for Burt Reynolds, like kind of what you maybe first think of when you think of him. And so we went into this.
It is, isn't it? Absolutely, it is, I think.
Yeah, so I think we went into it thinking there was really going to be this kind of fun, laid out plot, but the fact that it ends up feeling like an episode of a cartoon show was just kind of this crazy surprise, but you're still kind of there for it. Like, it doesn't detract from your enjoyment at all. So I love that that's kind of what it ended up being, with us not having that expectation at all.
You can see why it would have become, you know, a trilogy as well, or a movie series of any degree, because it's a very simple story to write again, isn't it? It's just give them another job and it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same, you know, style, the same tone, the same.
But does it escalate like the Fast and the Furious? Do the jobs go from street racing to now working with like FBI and like secret government agencies? Like,
none of that. These are different levels of.
Do they ultimately go to space and do a Star Wars thing by Smokey and the Bandit?
So that's how it's become Star Wars. Smokey and the Bandit in space. The Bandit in space. Yeah. Just the Trans Am, just past. What is it?
Just
that
like
the
they
Millennium
did in
Falcon?
No,
it's not the Millennium Falcon. It's the Pontiac Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit.
Like, didn't they do that in
which
Fast
is a good
9?
car.
They had a car in space.
Is exactly my kind of odd-looking 70s box car that I just like.
Yeah,
I like the look of it.
Yeah,
Confederate flag aside, I like the look of it.
Very cool. Yeah.
At least it's a small Confederate flag as opposed to the Dukes of Hazzard.
It's like the whole car. It's just
which is literally the whole car might as well just be. It might as well just be that. We can't we can't be doing the Dukes of Hazzard anymore. Although the Dukes of Hazzard obviously does have a very good car horn, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's a good car horn in Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes.
There's no discernible car horn in Smokey and the Bandit.
No, it's just a regular
It's just
old
a good
horn.
car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know nothing about cars, and it's just I enjoy it. I like the look of this car.
It looks good. It looks good jumping. I love the part when Sally Field's like when they do a big jump and she gets all excited. She's like, jump.
Yes.
Yes, but very 70s, because she's like, let's jump something. I want to jump something else. And he's like, well, you could jump me. Just like,
of course you could.
And then it just cuts to the next scene, like.
That's all Burt Reynolds had to say, you see. That's all he had to do to get everybody just going, yes, of course I will, jump.
Right?
That was it.
Yes, he just says it so casually. I will say I do think I saw Sally Field in an interview. She was asked recently, like her worst kiss, and I want to say I think she said Burt Reynolds, which I could kind of see it because I loved kind of the lead up to their little romantic kiss moment. Like it was really
Well, there's
cute.
obviously
Like
going to be a romantic kiss moment.
yes,
There has to be in this
yes.
movie.
So they like take a little break. They're walking through the woods. There's like I think a little like creek, and it's really cute and sweet. And he made
Don't
up
say
this
the
little.
word creek; it gives me PTSD. Put that Funko Pop of Dawson from Dawson's Creek
down. But they're having like this nice sweet moment, and there's kind of this cute little banter about his hat. And
It's a good hat.
She asked him to take his hat off. Like, do you ever take your hat off? And he says he only takes his hat off for one thing and one thing only. So then that kind of happens. And she asked him to take his hat off, and then they have this kiss. But so all of that's so cute, and like even like puts his hands on her face, and it looks like it's like this cute moment. And then they kiss, and they kind of like just smush their faces together and don't really move at all. So then I'm like, oh, okay, I can see why she probably said that.
It's no way of
not a good kisser.
Smushing a face is no way of kissing a new.
Yeah,
love.
no, like they go in for it, and you think it's gonna be like perfect, and then it's just like smush, and then they just kind of like stay still with their faces smashed into each other, like.
I feel like, I mean, I feel like smushing your faces together is something you would only do if you were trying to be silly in kissing another person.
Yes.
And, you weren't being genuine about it. You were just like, oh, for example, you've kissed this person many, many, many times, or you've kissed this person many, many, many times. And for this one, let's just do something crazy and just literally
and see what it looks
like together.
Yes, and that's what it looked like, which was kind of disappointing because I'm somebody, like we talk about this all the time, like as a rom-com girly, I'm somebody who will just pick up and latch onto a romantic subplot no matter what the genre is. Like I'm literally somebody who has a top 3 favorite movie kisses. So I, analyze these things like
do I know what your favorite movie kiss is? And is Burt Reynolds and Sally Field one of your least favorite movie kisses now?
Yes, I would say it's probably one of the least. I think all 3 of them are movies that you are not. Well, I mean, we have a top 4. Are movies that you're not super familiar with. I think 2 of them we did on the show, but I don't. Or no, one of them I think. Yes, 2 of them we did on the show, but I don't think you would remember the kisses.
Okay.
Yeah. So
well, for curiosity's sake, what is the number 1? So people are aware.
I don't think they're in any order. I think they're all just.
Oh, they're not in any order.
Good. Okay. No. So there's this heist movie with Ed Burns and Rachel Weisz called Confidence, and they have a really great kiss. Okay. So that's that genre. And then I think the Rachel Weisz again, her kiss with Brendan Fraser and The Mummy is a great movie kiss, I think.
Maybe it's Rachel Weisz. Maybe it's Rachel Weisz that does it.
She's a good movie kisser. One movie we did on the show when we did our kind of big romantic double feature, we did Walk in the Clouds with Keanu Reeves. The name of the Latin actress in that film escapes me, but their kiss in Walk in the Clouds is beautiful kiss, and it's so romantic and slow-mo. It's like very epic whipping wet hair and this whole kind of thing. And then I believe we did this in a Black rom-com series, Something New, the Sanaa Lathan film. Her kiss with Simon Baker, I think is
Simon Baker.
Yes, their kiss in the rain under the tree, so romantic.
In the rain under a tree. It's all the damn same. Stereotype, right? Isn't it?
But it's so
fair enough.
So yes, this kiss was not any of those. It was literally just like a cute lead up. He puts his hands on her face. It's so cute, and then.
Well, you don't. I mean. You don't know how much cigarette ash is in that mustache, really, do you? I suppose.
Yeah, and I think they were like actually dating, so I don't know why. I think I read that in the IMDb trivia that they like had done 4 movies together, or a few movies together, playing boyfriend and girlfriend, and they actually kind of were seeing each other. But
maybe there's a reason that didn't last. And it was the fact that they just couldn't kiss each other properly.
Yeah.
They couldn't. That's funny. I didn't know that, actually. And that's funny that, we've had those two in Smokey and the Bandit this week. And we had Clint Eastwood and Sandra Locke in The Gauntlet last week.
Oh, yeah.
Who I also found out.
Yeah.
I actually also found out that the actual history of those two's relationship since that show last week, and I hate the fact that we recorded that show last week without knowing this information.
Yeah,
but because I learned it after the fact that it wasn't actually like a relationship or a marriage or anything like that, because Clint Eastwood was married throughout their entire relationship to somebody else.
And so was she. She was like the beer to a gay man. So she was married to one of her good friends who was gay, and he didn't like it. So that's what kind of caused strife in their relationship. And then there was a big lawsuit situation because I think he changed the locks on their apartment or vice versa. I can't remember. And so it was this kind of big dispute. It was never confirmed, but it's kind of said that he had asked her to get rid of a child that they were going to have and things like that. So yeah, they did several movies together. It was kind of this long, tumultuous, messy relationship between the two of them. But I mean, they had great kissing and great chemistry in that movie.
They did.
Yeah.
But the tumultuousness of their relationship was something that I was not overly familiar with until, unfortunately, after we'd recorded that show last week.
Yeah.
But who's Clint Eastwood's wife that stays with him throughout all this?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think he had a couple of wives.
Oh, he did, yeah. He was married about 3 times.
Yes, and he has a bunch of children, here and there and everywhere. So yeah, I want to say he had at least 2 marriages in the time that he was kind of seeing Sandra Locke, I want to say. Because I think when I had first kind of found out about them, I had really liked her in the Dirty Harry movie I'd seen with her, and then I watched The Gauntlet, and I was like, they're them working together again. So then I looked up her up because I was really interested in her. I'm like, how come I didn't really know her that well, because she's great. And then I kind of read up all these little tidbits about this kind of crazy relationship she had with Clint Eastwood. So I was a bit of aware of it. I'm not sure why I didn't bring it up on the show, because I did kind of know a bit about that. But they had great chemistry, so maybe that's why I didn't bring it up. It actually worked there. But and here I think they have great chemistry. It's just that kiss was just not cute.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In conversation, in barbing with each other.
Yes, and flirting. It's all very cute. Yeah.
It's all great. It's all great. It's a fun movie. I've enjoyed thoroughly today's episode. It's been here, there, and everywhere kind of Morgan hasn't seen, but Smokey and the Bandit is a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm very happy to have watched it for this late 70s series. Jeannine, thank you very much for including it in the curation of the series. Of course, the series is not over, and we're taking another turn next week. I mean, the turns do not stop on the late 70s series.
I think we needed to add something in the title of this series, something about weird movies, or movies with some weird energy or crazy, because all these movies had some kind of crazy kind of energy to them. So, and it's only going to get crazier next week, where we kind of dip our toes into spooky season, which I'm excited about.
Oh, yes. So, yes, Phantasm is the movie we've got coming next week. 1979, we're just still in the 70s.
Yeah.
Just still in the late 70s, 1979. But Phantasm's a movie I've wanted to see for a very long time, because it is supposed to be incredibly weird.
Yes.
Is it supernatural? Is it whatever it is?
Yeah.
Deeply, deeply weird.
Yeah. Very weird. Movie. It is.
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Obviously. And that is how we're going to end this late 70s series. Very good, very exciting. Yes. Smokey and the Bandit sing eastbound and down, all the way down, wherever you're going, unless you're going westbound. And if you are going westbound, there's also a version that says westbound and down. It's at the very beginning of the movie when they're going the other way to get the beer. going the other way to get the beer, and then they come back eastbound. Oh, that's
well, when the songwriter is in the movie, he could, he can make those changes.
I mean, he's
on hand to make those
Snowman.
Changes. Yeah,
it's the same character. Very fun though, very fun, very entertaining, and it's all he wanted to be, isn't it? Really,
yeah,
that is all it wanted to be. This exploration of freewheeling, freedom-loving, open road-loving American individualism. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, we can liken it to all those cultural contexts and things, and I don't think it is unfounded at all. But is it being a serious movie? No. No.
Not at all.
Not in the slightest way. Not in the slightest. Great times were had. Of course, this is not the only show we have on this podcast feed. The main show, It's a Wonderful Podcast, is there celebrating old movies every single Friday over here. Morgan hasn't seen TV, or Jeannine hasn't seen TV, depending on what week we're on, because we're on Discovering Dawson's Creek and diving into Doctor Who, alternating on Mondays as well on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. Now, moving the TV shows over to the audio feed as well as on the YouTube channel. Of course, subscribe, ding the notification bell on the YouTube channel, subscribe wherever you are listening to today's episode. Leave your comments on Spotify, leave your ratings and reviews all around. Keep an eye out across the social media for the podcast questions and all that fun stuff as well. Give your answers to those. We read them out in a Q&A special every month and talk about what you all have to say on our podcast questions. That is always my favorite time of every month, I think, doing the podcast questions, Jeannine. But of course, if you want to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, there are links in the description of this episode to go and do that. And our social media links, they have been scrolling at the bottom of the screen if you are watching today's video episode over on the YouTube channel. But if not, of course, you can find the show on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with the 3 instead of the E in there, because, Jeannine, 3 is a magic number. On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your bandits are where?
You can find me at Jeannine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
Well, there's only one thing I think there is having to be done. That was an odd little turn of phrase I've used there. There is only one thing I think is having to be done, is what I said, to close out the episode today, Jeannine, and it will indeed be your finest impression of Buford T. Justice.
Oh no, I was not expecting that. I thought you were just gonna make me sing Eastbound and Down or something.
You can sing Eastbound and Down as well, but I do insist on an impression of Buford T. Justice.
Oh my gosh, I can't do an impression of that goofus guy. Oh, 3, 2, 1.
My name is Buford T. Justice. Bye. Yeah.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking.